Welcome to the third video in our Professional Learning for Mainstream Teachers of English Learners sequence. Make sure that you remember to document your participation on your professional learning log. The purpose of this video is to provide you with a conceptual understanding of what it means to differentiate for English learners, as well as give you some ideas as to how to go about differentiating effectively. When we think about differentiation for English learners, it is helpful to consider a variety of supports. First, what kind of supports are most appropriate for these learners? As you remember, determining the best supports is part of the Model Performance Indicator, or MPI, that we explored in the last video. There are three main kinds of supports: interactive, graphic, and sensory. Interactive supports consider how students are grouped and for what purpose. Are they working in pairs, small groups, individually, etc.? Graphic supports consider how the language of graphic organizers is made explicit to English learners. Finally, sensory supports consider how the support will promote students' academic language growth. Here are some general examples. Specific examples for content areas are provided in your handouts. Sensory supports are things like manipulatives, illustrations, drawings, videos, models, figures. Graphic supports might be things such as charts, graphic organizers, timelines, number lines, thinking maps. Interactive supports consider how students are working with other students, such as in pairs or partners, in a whole group, using cooperative groups, with the internet or software programs, with mentors, or possibly working with another student who speaks the same native language. Differentiation by domain. There are 4 language domains: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. When thinking about differentiating, you might consider these questions. First, does the instruction engage students in all domains? What are students actually doing in each domain? What percentage of time is spent in each domain? Sometimes teachers find it helpful to look at the performance definitions for speaking and writing and the performance definitions for reading and listening to help clarify the expectations at each proficiency level. These have also been provided for you in the handouts provided with the video. If you look at the speaking and writing definitions, you can see how a student should progress from level to level with linguistic complexity, language forms and conventions, and vocabulary usage. For example, a Level 2 student should be able to produce phrases or short sentences. The next step would be to help the student move to a Level 3 and work on short and some expanded sentences with emerging complexity. Take a look at the can-do chart for your grade level. This is the orange chart posted in your classroom. You also have a handout available with this video, and they are also available on the ESOL SharePoint page. The WIDA can-do philosophy focuses on what language learners can do as opposed to what they can't do. As a teacher of English learners, you have the power to recognize and unleash the potential that language learners bring to your classroom. By using the can-do chart, we can articulate examples of what our English learners are able to do with language. We can also use this chart as a tool to help our students progress with their proficiency. To be proficient in a language, students need to develop proficiency in 4 domains: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Intentional practice each day in content area classes will help students acquire the language they need to be successful in your class and in school. Find your students' levels on the can-do chart. Then consider some of the following strategies by domain. These are also provided for you on a handout with this video. For the listening domain, you might use things like listening triads, where you place students into groups of 3 and give each a number from 1 to 3. Write statements or concepts on the board, possibly using graphics to support if necessary. Statement concept number 1 is explained to the group by student 1 and so on. For example, social studies. What is a local community? What is a national community? What is a global community? Another strategy for listening might be to have students describe and draw. This could be a teacher-directed or a pairs activity. One student might draw a series of shapes. The partner cannot see what is drawn. The artist then gives instructions to the partner about how to recreate the drawing. Draw a circle in the middle of the page. Then draw a triangle in the middle. For the speaking domain, you might have students play a popular game similar to Taboo, where students make cards about content concepts. One student must describe the idea on the card without saying the taboo words. Another popular idea is the think, pair, share strategy, where you pose a question or idea or math problem to students. You might ask them to think about it individually to form ideas. Allow them time to work with a partner to work on the problem and construct an answer together. Partners then share their work with the whole group. This is a powerful idea that can and should be used in multiple content areas. In the domain of reading, you might want to consider modeled reading, read-alouds, or think-alouds. In this strategy, students listen to the teacher read aloud from a variety of genres. Teachers choose text according to personal and classroom interest, content topics, authors, or strategies being taught. Special attention is paid to fluent, expressive oral reading. Selected teaching points are based on ongoing observation and assessment and target students' current needs. Read-alouds teach vocabulary, concepts, comprehension strategies, writing crafts and traits, etc. Teachers frequently reread text to teach additional concepts and extend learning. In a think-aloud, teachers pause and interject their own thinking about the text. A think-aloud will model specific reading comprehension strategies and provide students with a model for metacognition. Read-alouds are usually paired with think-alouds so that the teacher is reading and thinking aloud as he or she demonstrates fluent reading and the metacognitive process, which simply means thinking about one's thinking. Another reading strategy for ELs is sequencing, where you cut up sections of text and place them in envelopes, hand them to small groups, and give groups time to organize them in a logical order. The sections could be glued, and then they can discuss and defend their decisions in a larger group. This is a good idea to use when you've got a text that has a sequence of events, such as one related to an historical event. Finally, the writing domain has several strategies that we use with all of our students frequently to help them grow as writers. One example is an exit slip where we have students provide a brief written summary of what they've just read just prior to the end of the lesson. It could be formal or informal. Another example is a word splash, where key content-related words are written on the board for students to spontaneously add words or phrases associated with the topic. When differentiating for English learners, the most effective practices consider the grade level content standard and the student's proficiency level. You will see that many of the strategies that we use for all of our students work well for English learners. We must consider their domains of reading, speaking, reading, and writing that we're trying to boost for their language proficiency to ensure that our differentiation is as effective for our content area learning as it is for language acquisition. Thank you for participating in the third video in this sequence. Please make sure you remember to document your participation on your professional learning log. As always, if you need any additional assistance or you would like more information, please feel free to contact Amy Faust or Jeannie Waters. We're here to help.